Hey baby, can you smell it? Can you smell what the rock is cooking? All right, so 4 things I like about the Under Armour Project Rock 3 training shoes. Number 1, I love the hover midsole. So whenever they put that into a training shoe, you know it's gonna be an interesting blend of both support, but also reactivity. And I think they walk the line pretty well here with the hover midsole when it comes to providing you with both of those aspects of stability under weight and also reactivity when doing more athletic focused movements. The second thing I like about this model is that they kept the tri-base outsole construction in this one. So as you can see here, this is the tri-base construction. This basically provides you with more ground support when you're trying to really grip that floor with the tripod foot position. So the base of the pinky, big toe, and heel all have full ground contact. That is great for a bunch of different activities. Third thing I like about this model is the reworked outer. So this outer construction is much different than the Project Rock 2, and I'm a fan of it. It provides you with a little bit more of a comfortable feel with this model, but also it really locks you in and provides a little bit more of like an athletic feeling to this shoe. The fourth thing I like about this model is the added heel counter back here. So we have a little bit of a lip back here. The Project Rock 2 didn't really have a big support up here towards the top of the heel, and at times you'd have a little bit of heel slip depending on how the shoe fit. This provides this shoe with a little bit more beef in the heel, so you really get locked in and it feels very supportive no matter what movement you're doing. All right, so 3 potential cons I could see folks having with the Under Armour Project Rock 3 training shoe is number 1, the sizing and fit of this model is very different than the Project Rock 2. In fact, if you are interested in buying this model, please just stick around and watch until the sizing and fit section and I'll show you what I mean. And that way you'll have a better idea of what size to get if you're gonna grab a pair of these. The second thing I will say that I could see as a potential con is how thick the midsole and outsole are. So look, if you've worn this shoe before and you like your Project Rock 2s, this isn't an issue for you because the midsole and outsole construction are very similar. But if you are somebody who likes more of a minimalist feel in their shoe and they like feeling very super close to the ground, this midsole is pretty thick, so this may not be the best option for you. The third potential con I could see folks having is the price. At $140 USD, this is definitely not the most cost-efficient training shoe. Now granted, it is a Project Rock model, so it is a little bit more proprietary, a little bit more signature, so if you take that into account, it might be worth it, but it is worth mentioning that this is definitely not gonna be the most cost-efficient training shoe on the market. All right, so when it comes to sizing and fit for the Project Rock 3, I brought out a Project Rock 2 to provide you a little bit of context as to why the sizing is different in this model. So I mentioned in the first section of this video in the pros that there's this additional heel support and heel material back here. I like it for performance. It gives this shoe a nice snug feeling and it really locks in the heel. But this material goes all the way down to the heel here. You can literally see the difference in heel thickness back here on the 2 and the 3. So what ends up happening is you end up getting pushed forward in this model because this material goes all the way down in the heel. So what I would recommend is considering to go up a half size to a full size in the Project Rock 3. Now normally my true to size 10 models, I have a little bit of room up in the toes, nothing too crazy. So if you are somebody who is always pushing the upper envelope in your true to size model, then I would definitely err towards a full size larger. And then obviously vice versa. If you have usually a little bit more room, then you probably say for the half size, but definitely I would say go up a half size to a full size in the Project Rock 3. And that's because this material pushes you forward a little bit. Quick note guys, if you like training shoe reviews and you love training content, consider dropping a subscribe to the channel. It seriously helps me out and it motivates me to continue making videos. So as mentioned before, the price of this model is $140 USD. Now, if you've ever bought a Project Rock 1 or a Project Rock 2 before, then that price shouldn't surprise you. Now, do I think that price is worth it for this model? Yes, if you are a Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson fan and you like his more signature product line, then you can expect to pay a little bit more because this is a little bit more of a proprietary model. But on top of that, I think this is the best iteration of this model yet, and it's the most versatile in the gym. Plus, I think it honestly looks the best in my opinion when it comes to aesthetics. So if you are somebody who wants to have this shoe for wearing it on a day-to-day basis, but also training in, then I think $140 is worth it. Now, obviously you could find more budget-friendly cross trainers out there, but again, you're gonna miss out on that like more signature, The Rock's training shoe. All right, so now let's chat performance of the Project Rock 3. Across the board when it comes to working out, I thought the shoe did fairly well. Also, it's comfortable to wear on a day-to-day basis. So if you want a trainer that you can also wear outside of the gym, this shoe is a good bet to do so with. Now, let's break down the performance section into 3 different sections. Let's talk about lifting, let's talk about more plyometric / functional fitness style workouts, and then let's talk about running. Now, from a lifting standpoint, can you squat? Can you deadlift? Can you lift a lot of weight in this model? I think so, up to a certain point. I've lifted up to about 435-ish pounds in this model. Didn't notice any issues with compression. Now I will say, if you're trying to deadlift and so forth, the heel to toe drop might be a little bit too much for you. But when it comes to a stability standpoint, the midsole and outsole are pretty dang supportive. There's a lot of material, but it doesn't compress that easily under heavy loads. Now, from a more plyo, functional fitness standpoint, so doing more of your more versatile workouts, jumping and so forth, this model I also thought did fairly well. The increased heel material locks you in place, the lighter outer construction is very form-fitting, very athletic feeling, and it feels fairly light on the foot. So when it comes to jumping, when it comes to doing like walking lunges, a little bit more dynamic movement, this shoe does a pretty good bet. So if you are a recreational lifter and you like this shoe for more of your recreational training, this model I think will be a great bet to do so with. So from a more functional fitness, plyo-based training standpoint, this model does well. Now, when it comes to running, I didn't do any longer runs in this model. I ran at tops 2 to 3 miles, but overall, I thought it did fairly well. Now, I will say it does feel better than most cross trainers when it comes to running, but if you're looking for a more long distance shoe, I don't know if this is going to be your best bet. I would worry that over a longer period of time, if you're doing a lot of long distance running, this might break down a little bit. So that is something to keep in mind with longer distance runs. So when it comes to supporting heavier lifting, this model does fairly well. It's definitely not going to be the most stable option on the market, but I think for most folks, it'll support their needs just fine. For plyometrics and functional fitness workouts, again, I love how the shoe fits. It feels very athletic. It's not super heavy, and it's pretty reactive when it comes to jumping and so forth. So if you are a recreational lifter, I think this model will be a good bet. And then when it comes to running, shorter distance runs I think are fine in this model. Longer distance, I didn't actually test, so I wouldn't know. But I would say pay attention to durability if you plan on wearing this shoe for long distance runs. All right guys, so now let's talk construction of the Project Rock 3. We'll make our way from the toe to the heel. So up here on the toe, we have that outsole layer that comes up. Now we don't have any additional layers of material to kind of protect for durability up here. So I will say be very cognizant when doing a lot of toe dragging movements in this model, because this is a more stretchy, like knit material, and there's no protection over it. So in a few months from now, I don't wanna see your shoe break down way too quickly due to friction up here. So be very cognizant of that when doing your training. Now, making our way through the midsole, we have that same hover midsole in the Project Rock 2. So as you can see here, it's virtually the same exact midsole and outsole wrap that the Project Rock 2 has. So if you're used to that, expect to get something very, very similar in this model. Now they did rework the outer here. So again, this is more of like a stretchy knit material. There's a little bit more of a thicker material down here on the outskirts. Nothing up here, so as you can see, we have a nice little bit of give here. And honestly, I love the way that fits and feels on the shoe. Makes it feel very athletic and very light. Making our way through the midfoot, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eyelets going up. And these are the locking system that the Project Rock 2 had as well. Now we do have a little bit of an additional loop down here versus on the Project Rock 2, where it's kind of more of like your traditional eyelet. And what they did was they moved down these 2 eyelets down, so we have these loops as well. So overall, I like that iteration because it provides a really locked in feeling through the midfoot here. Feels pretty light. Then making our way towards the boot of the shoe. So as you can see, midfoot, pretty much similar on the lateral and medial side when it comes to material and texture. This is more of a thicker synthetic like mesh leatherish material. The boot itself, same exact kind of booty style. However, they did raise the tongue on this model and give this additional heel support here. Awesome for pulling that shoe on and off. If you've ever worn a Project Rock 2 and you've been sweaty wearing low socks, you know that sucker was hard to get on because they didn't have any lips. So nice addition here for Under Armour, listening to the feedback from consumers and also athletes saying, hey, can you make this a little bit easier to put on and so forth. So cool addition there from Under Armour. The heel material itself, because I've talked about it so much, it is a thicker material, goes all the way down to the boot here. And overall, it's like a nice like padded texture. Decent when it comes to support, and it's pretty comfortable overall. Personally, I like it. I didn't even notice any friction from up here wearing lower socks, so I didn't have any issues like blisters and so forth. So all around, nice addition there from Under Armour. We have a plastic heel counter going around the back. We have the good old blood, sweat, and respect from Mr. Dwayne going down the back lip here. And then we have on the outsole, a similar material as the Project Rock 2. We have the tri-base, then we have some texture throughout here. And I enjoy these lips up here on the toe because it gives it a little bit more reactivity and allows you to really drive that toe in. And it doesn't take too long to break in. Overall, I think those are the biggest call outs about this model. Some things stayed the same from the Project Rock 2. However, the full outer pretty much got a revamp. That wraps up my review of the Under Armour Project Rock 3 training shoes. In my opinion, this is the best model yet. Performs the best, fits the best, and I think it looks the coolest. So if you have any questions on this model specifically, hit me in the comments below. I already have a feeling I'm gonna have a lot of sizing and fit questions, so hit me and let me know what you're wearing now and I can help you size accordingly. But as always, guys, it's been a pleasure. Drop a like on this video, drop a subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one.